Hey, take one. Let's go.
The stronger the grass, the greater the distortion of perception and judgment.
I'm from Oregon. I drink my coffee, smoke my reefer in the morning. I roll 2 J's up and then I domed them.
Antonio Jackson, it's good to fucking have you again,
Bro,
buddy.
Hey,
Good to
it's
see
a good
you,
time.
my
Always a
friend.
good time.
Absolutely,
talking
man.
on this podcast for real. Man.
On the podcast, off the podcast, it doesn't really matter.
For real.
And we go way back. We go back since high school, man. And I'm really excited that you're fucking doing shit with music now, because I remember, so we knew each other in high school, and then we didn't talk. And then you got the job at Eastside Distilling, which was really cool because it was like I was your manager at one point, and we got to work together, and it was a lot of fucking fun. And then I remember you were just starting to really get into your music, and we talked about that on the last episode now, but it's really starting to evolve. And you're really keeping yourself busy, man. You're keeping yourself out there. You felt wrath to the Instagram fucking hack. Like, so you're having to start from scratch. And now, officially, as of what, like 20 minutes before this podcast started?
Literally 20 minutes before the podcast.
I want to let you break the news to the people, man.
I started this record label back when it was just a management company called Trilogy Management back in September of last year, so 2021. And about 20 minutes ago, I just made it official by getting my licensing on the company. So I'll just put it like that.
Bro. That's what's up, man. Congratulations, man. I'm glad that we were able to, you were able to do that. We were able to talk about this, and you were able to do that right before we fucking started this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like we're capturing the shit in real time, man.
Exactly.
Like, we're literally, a moment in history for you, man.
Yeah,
and I'm really
definitely.
excited.
Thank you, brother.
Because also, you're, like I said, you're keeping yourself busy, man. And one thing that you told me about that you're doing, I'm really excited to get the people to know about this, because one thing I love about talking about you when it comes to your music or anything is you and I both are very cinematic in the way we see things. Like we look at life like a giant movie.
Yes.
And we know the coolest stories to tell. And so you had this really amazing idea of doing a hip hop concept album, and it's not like a concept album like that people have done before. It's like in hip hop. So for people that don't know, a concept album normally is an album that kind of centrals like around a theme. My favorite types of concept albums are ones that are telling a story, and it's like the whole album is a book, and each song is a chapter of that book.
Exactly. Yes.
And for those that don't know, one of my favorite concept albums, it's not a hip hop album, but Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. Really good, very oddly connected to today's time with shit that's going on and everything. Operation Mindcrime was really good. American Idiot from Green Day is a concept album. The Wall from Pink Floyd is a concept album. And so you're making your own. Yes. And I've always wanted to see a hip hop concept album. So let's let the people know, what is this going to be about, man?
So this concept album came about when I wanted to get into acting. I used to take a lot of theater classes, but I really wanted to be able to do something that was original. Now, I can say that life gets you ready for, I like to say, the big event. So one of those situations for me was when I got inspired by the Jay-Z album, American Gangster. So I noticed that he actually took, I think he was doing the soundtrack or something like that.
Okay.
Well, it inspired me to do a soundtrack of my own called Training Day. Obviously, it wasn't meant for me to do it around that time because I only did one track called Training Day. But to give you a good idea of what I'm doing for this album, you can definitely go check out Training Day. It's on all platforms. You can find me under J9. But I also, for this project,
which will be in the description below.
Yeah, most definitely. But I left the special effects in, the surrounding, the footsteps, and it's gonna be like this for this album as well. It's gonna be like a movie for your ears. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a movie for your ears. There's gonna be acting that I get to do. And there's gonna be different
potential voiceovers from yours truly.
Yes. I'm gonna have.
No.
So I'm gonna have
It's a crazy world we live in.
Yes, Joe with the most, cup of Joe.
Joe, your host with the most.
Yeah.
Joe, the hawk of talk with the punk rock walk, leaving all the podcasters lying in chalk.
I wouldn't have been able to do that better. I was just like, I shut up real fast, bro.
It's like one of those old 70s freaking old radio DJ intros.
Yeah.
I did that with Sammy V on the episode. Shout out Sammy V. And I was just like, Joe, your host with the most. Joe, the hawk of talk with that punk rock walk.
That's that you get that down, bro.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, man, It's just it's gonna be a
You're
movie
gonna have
for you.
skits.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you're
gonna have skits.
like,
It's all
you're-
gonna be tied together. It's all gonna be telling you a story. I'm writing my first screenplay, and the more I write it, it's turning into half sci-fi and half based in reality. So the more I write, I'm just letting the process happen.
So by that, do you mean kind of like it's like based in reality in the sense of just like you're kind of adapting realistic elements of your own life to like a sci-fi story?
Yes,
Okay,
with a
gotcha.
lot of subliminal. There's gonna be subliminal messages in there. There's gonna be metaphors. It's going to eventually end up where there's a twist at the end, and I'm not letting everything come out in the story in the beginning, because there's going to be parts in the middle of the end that's going to be like, wow, that's why, oh damn, in the beginning that's why Antonio lost his memories in the first place. Oh, that makes sense now. Or did he ever have any memories of his past former self? And it's going to get deep, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, one last thing I will say is the cover art. The movie is going to be surrounding the cover art. So let's say that you take your eyes, right, and you're visually looking at the cover art, and you see that it's me frozen with chains on. Then when you actually listen to the intro first and second track, you're going to hear the skit of me breaking out of what you just saw. So it's going to be all connected, and that's what
That's really dope.
yeah,
man.
it's going to be all connected.
I love that there has to be a visual element that's tied with what you're listening to, because you want to turn this into a much bigger thing. And I was talking about this interview when I was actually getting the weed for this episode, and I was talking about doing this interview with you, and then I was just like, oh yeah, I'm about to do a podcast. I'm like, oh, who you got on this time? Because shout out Khalifa here in Oregon City. They're fucking podcast family. They've put me on the TV. Like, they've really helped the show grow a lot. And they're always really interested to see who I have on the show. And I was telling them, I was like, yeah, there's a homeboy of mine. He's getting really further into his music career, and he's about to make a hip hop concept album, which is really dope. And I was like telling him about that, and he was like, yeah, you don't really hear about that a lot. And I was like, no, you don't, bro. And it's really, and I remember the little bit you told me about it was very, very intriguing. So I'm really excited to see where it goes, man. I mean, what inspired you to want to make this?
Okay, so what inspired me to want to make it? So 3 months ago now, I had a good friend of mine that was a producer, used to work with me back when I was in Salem like 5 years ago. And he hit me up 3 months ago saying that he had went from producing turned
Salem, Oregon, for those that don't know,
yes,
not Salem, Mass.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
Salem, Oregon, right? So he hit me up 3 months ago, and he said that he had a producer turned TV and film, ended up working in that industry. And he said that because he already did a movie, and he said he was just telling the director about me being in the sequel. So for me, while I'm waiting for the director, and that's the patient part, and I understand that now. When I was younger, I didn't understand. I'm like, I want things to happen right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Right now.
I'm still guilty of that at times.
Right. What inspired me to do this was the fact that I was waiting to hear back from the director, but I was like, well, in the time being, let me make my own. I want to make my own story. I want to make an imaginary version of myself. I told myself one day, I said, when Michael Jackson, he made Thriller, do you really think there was zombies coming up the ground in real life? No, he wasn't just walking down the street, saying, and next thing you know, zombies were just popping up. That was an imaginary version of himself. So what if I take that idea and I do an imaginary version of myself? It's me, but it's not me at the same time. So I'm able to expand my ideas.
So hold on, I just want to stop you not stop, but pause for a second, because I was interested. So you said Michael Jackson's Thriller was like an imaginary version of himself.
Yes, sir.
So like, do you mean just kind of like him putting himself like in a fictional story element?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay,
sir.
okay.
There we go. Thank you for that.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure.
No, most definitely. He was able to expand off his ideas and then
put himself in a movie.
Yeah, and put himself in a movie. And at least for me, if I write like that, I'm not going to ever run out of ideas. I don't get writer's blocked as often because I'm like, okay, if I stick to having to talk about my everyday life, then I need to wait for life to happen. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing that I got to wait for life to happen. But if I put myself in a movie, then now I can sit there and have a scene from any of your favorite movies, and I can just mention things, you know what I'm saying, that's going on in those scenes and put it in the film, and hopefully it relates to somebody. nobody.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that's really awesome, man. So I mean, it's cool that you want to do so much, man. Like you're like me, like that. It's like I want to do. I have so much. I have screenplays that I've already written. I have ideas for TV shows that I've written,
Wow.
and all sorts of different shit, man. And I'm really excited to see you go into it because writing a screenplay, in my opinion, is the funnest way to write. Other than like if I'm in like an emotional mood, I like to write poetry / hip hop lyrics. Like I like to write rap lyrics and shit because I just love the challenge of writing rap because it's like I have to have a certain amount of syllables and it's a certain amount of words that I can use and it has to be context with the line before it. So like that's like a puzzle that I have to figure out in my head. And it's very zen when I'm in an emotional mood because not only am I putting my thoughts down and my feelings down, but I have to do it in a structure. So I'm expressing my soul and challenging my mind at the same time. And that's very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
But when I'm writing a screenplay, it's like it's literally like painting a movie. Like that's the best way I can describe it because like sometimes I'll have an idea for a story and I know how it begins and I know how it ends and I have no fucking idea how I'm going to get there. And sometimes that's half the fun. I have sometimes where I've seen the whole movie already in my head and I'm just putting it on paper.
Yeah.
Like, and I've had that times too, but but I love I love whenever I'm sitting there writing it and I'm in the scene with the characters as I'm writing the characters. So I'm like, oh yeah. And then this person comes in, they walk over here, they pick this up and someone's like, I forgot that was there. And you know, it's like that, that sort of thing. It's like you're painting this sort of movie in your head.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So like, let's kind of like, so you want to make it in like kind of like a movie plot in a concept album, which is really fucking dope, which is the best way to make a concept album. So like, if you were to, let's go ahead and say it like as a movie. Let's go with the story. What is the story going to be?
Well, the story. So back in and this is fictional. This is like.
So you said like let me get more specific with this question. So you said like that you're like the picture and the album art is going to be you like in chains frozen. Yeah. Right. So let's start from track 1, but let's tell it in story format.
I'm gonna tell it in story format, but do you mind if I back up a little
Absolutely.
bit?
Whatever you need to do,
man. So, since it's an imaginary version of myself, and I'm able to think outside the box and use movie concepts. Let me just say, it started back I'm gonna start back as far as I was born in 1988, but that was just an idea that I had that this curator Antonio Jackson was just becoming known for his record label in 1988. So it starts back in 1988. Somewhere around that time, I would say midway through 1988, he met a love interest. Now, this love interest came into his life as anybody would think, oh, okay, she really is into me. What I didn't know was she was part of a agenda. Her whole purpose was coming into my life to take over my record label that I've been building. So she had her plans that she already knew what she was going to do, and her name is actually going to be Diana, a reference from Dirty Diana with Michael Jackson. That was actually purposely done,
kind of like a little tribute to Michael Jackson.
Tribute to Michael Jackson.
That's what's up.
So when she meets him, making him think that he was gonna fall in love and have this fairy tale story like many of us maybe have dreamed about or maybe really wanted in real life, things like that. So next thing you know, fast forward to me being frozen, she actually worked. One thing I didn't know was she worked for a pharmaceutical company called Desert Dawn Corporation, and she did work developing engineered human bioweapons in the company.
So do you mean like kind of like super soldiers kind of type of thing?
Yes, exactly like that. Exactly like that. Only this one is revolving around music, which I think is pretty dope.
No, for sure. No, that's pretty
revolving around music, and everything's going to be music related, and the story will unfold the more I go on. Don't get me wrong, but yes, as of now, she was responsible of having me frozen. It did mention in the screenplay that my memories was wiped clean. You're gonna find out that the guy who created the company, Desert Dawn Corporation, his name was Antonio Jackson. He's the real Antonio Jackson. He's older. He's like in his 70s or 80s years old, and he's in a wheelchair. And he was responsible of having these human engineer bioweapons be made. They had tested the virus on multiple people, but they didn't bond with the virus on a cellular level like this one model
So
did.
the actual thing that they're doing is like a virus that manipulates your cells,
Yes.
and kind of turns you into like a super soldier.
Yes,
and he was the first
exactly.
one to actually be able to.
Exactly.
His body took to it. Okay.
Exactly. Only in this concept.
I'm just making sure people
no,
listening can
no,
follow.
please. I'm glad you're doing that, my brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Only in this story, it wasn't just him not knowing that he was able to defend himself, but he also was already made with the ability to run a record label. Like musically, he was already built to know this stuff.
Okay.
Now, even though he has no memories because he's not real, as they would say, the memories of Antonio Jackson that's in the wheelchair, the real Antonio Jackson that created the company, he actually put his memories in an AI program that is Antonio Jackson's subconscious. So his subconscious has all this data stream, going on with the program. That's a little gist of it. You know what I mean? Like I keep going. I get lost in this.
So why do they freeze him?
That's a good question. They've, one of the things that I'm going to have more thought, into the story about later that I haven't grasped a whole lot yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he was frozen, was because he could have been a model that got away. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
He could have been, this just came to me. So he could have been a model that got away, and he, again, has no memory of who he is. So he's thinking he's real the whole time. And there's a reason why the older Antonio Jackson in his 70s or 80s, the reason why he captured him in the first place is because he was the 35th model, the model that the virus actually worked on and bonded with him. But again, Antonio Jackson, that's been frozen, has no idea, that this is going on. Yes, there's going to be people that I want to put in this movie that could portray J9, the old version, not the older version, but the old version of me, because that's what I originally, for those who don't know, I started out by going by J9, and me being Unchained as Antonio Jackson is a newly revolved, am I saying it right? Evolved, I thought so. Evolved person, what I mean? But yeah, man.
That's sick, man. That's sick. I'm excited to see how you pull through it, because I'm wondering how he goes from being frozen to the older version of himself unfreezing him.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see how that goes. And if it's from 1988, I'm guessing he was probably like a producer, rapper from like the gangster rap era, probably.
Yes, and that was the whole theme about it, because
so not only is he a super soldier, but he's got that Compton mentality.
But he has that, he has an old school rap mentality, that gangster like mentality. So back when people was cool with doing conscious and make, spreading a message, or let's say but at the same time,
where was he from? East Coast, West Coast? Where was he?
Oh, that's a good question, my brother. We will establish back
cool.
that. Yeah,
I like that. I like that you're still painting it, man.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
And leaving here is going to help a lot with the story.
That's
to be
what
honest
I do,
with you.
buddy.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
You do a
That's
good
what
job,
I
bro.
do.
Because I swear I leave here and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write for 3 days. I'm not even joking. I think that's what I did. I did that.
Sick,
yeah.
man. I'm glad to hear that.
But yeah, to say this real fast, it will evolve. And as far as where he's going to be set in, or is he just going to be from Oregon, I don't know. But you made a good point. But all I can tell you right now, as long as he was frozen, he missed when gangster rap was really taking off. He missed mumble rapping. He missed the first black president. He missed Trump. He missed COVID. So that's why I made sure to make these songs first, and then while I'm listening to these songs, I evolved the story around these songs. So the song's already done, but I evolved. I'm like, okay, so I'm mentioning, see, I never had COVID, but I noticed my flow's so ill. So I'm like, okay. So I never had, obviously, let me put that in the story. I've never, you know what I mean? So that's how this is coming about.
That's sick, man. That's really sick. I like that. You should make a song that's just called like 2000 through 20. And it's like that whole 20 years of everything that happened. It'd be
I
cool.
like that, actually. You know what? Yeah.
There you go, buddy. You can have that. It's okay. It's on digital record now. Yeah.
Hold on.
Trademark. Now it's mine.
I'm going to get back online and go I'm going to go file that real fast.
Man, that's going to be sick, man. I'm really excited to see that. I've been really wanting to get back into writing screenplays because like I have so many fucking ideas. I talked about one that was I talked about in the Same EV episode. And it's like where I have like this noir story that kind of takes place where there's like zombies and vampires, werewolves, all that shit coexists with humans. And there's like a cool story that I have with it. But I also have like, I want to make a Twisted Metal series, but unfortunately it's already coming about, but not a lot of people that are. Do you remember Twisted Metal?
Yeah,
it's a video game. So for those that don't know, it was a PlayStation game and a PlayStation series game. They had a bunch of different ones, but it was basically like a demolition derby with missiles and machine guns, because like your whole goal was to blow up all the other cars.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had these different crazy characters and everything like that. The storyline's really fucking dope, and I've always wanted to see a series or a movie made about it. At first the idea was a movie, and then I wanted to make a series. And then I had this idea that I fucking sat on for too long, and everybody I told it to, like literally like the trailer idea that I came up would give motherfuckers goosebumps. Like when I would describe it to them, especially Twisted Metal fans.
That's how you know.
It was one that was made because it was me and my friend Eric. We kind of came up with the story behind it because that's how we bonded. We met playing Twisted Metal. Like that's how we became friends. And so I had this idea, and I was like, dude, we should make a movie about it, because the inspiration was, there was a guy who, he was a really big fan of Mortal Kombat, right? And he had this idea for a Mortal Kombat movie, and he pitched it to Warner Brothers and pitched it to all these different companies, and they said no. And he said, fuck it, I'm going to get the money and I'm going to make the trailer for my own movie.
Wow. And
he did, and it fucking blew up. Like, and he ended up getting his own web series that was based off his idea for YouTube. And then they were going to make it into a movie, but then it's like sitting in production hell. And so, which I think, and maybe they actually did. I think they did release it, actually. I think it did come out. I'm not sure. I got to check into that. But anyway, that was the inspiration. I was like, dudes, if he can do that with Mortal Kombat, we can do that with Twisted Metal.
Wow,
I was like, our idea is good enough. But the only thing was we had this idea for this trailer, but I wish I would have put more thought into it and done more like research about actually doing that sort of stuff, because I think I would have been able to make it happen. But there was just too much production involved with it. It was way too much. Like, and we didn't have the money for it, and didn't have the ability to fundraise for it. And so, or maybe not the ability, but just didn't have the knowledge to seek out fundraising for it, because we were just thinking we had to come up with the money ourselves. No one's going to want to invest in it because it's not going to make any money. We didn't think that there's probably people out there that would have actually put money down on this to make this trailer, because I had the whole screenplay idea. And then after thinking about it as a movie, I thought it would actually be better as a series, like almost like a Netflix series. And then what I was thinking is you would make it a 12-part series, because there's 10 characters, and each episode would be dedicated to one character. And then you have 2 episodes dedicated to the tournament. And then every single character, we found a way to make these characters connected without even trying. That was the weirdest thing. Like and then next thing you know, we're like, wait. If they're doing this, that means they're connected with this person. And like literally every single person was like a 1 degree separation from anybody. Like it was a really crazy way we were able to make it happen. So I had this idea for making it a series. And then fortunately I acted too slow on it. I wrote the pilot. I wrote out the whole episode list on how everything would be broken down, episode by episode, character by character, full backstories, names, extra characters, everything. Damn. Everything was completely sought up for 12 episodes, and it's still there. So whenever inevitably this series that they're making bombs, because every single piece of news that they're dropping on it, nobody's looking forward to.
Oh, dude.
Like everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like all the fans are pissed. So inevitably when this bombs, I'm just going to go ahead and make it. because at this
Bro,
point I'll have the platform,
yeah.
maybe Speedball, and the ability to meet the people that I can actually make this shit happen. I can sit there and be like, all right, crack my knuckles, crack my neck, and say, let's get to work for real on this, because this is the way it needs to be. Like,
bro, that's dope.
And I have that idea. I also made a series about these guys who they discover the cure for cancer, but they end up basically losing all their shit, because the government doesn't want that to get out there, because they make so much money, because the pharma industry makes so much money off of treatment, not cures. That's how they make their money. So they don't want a cure for cancer. So these guys end up discovering it. I think it was like a cure for leukemia specifically. It was a cure for leukemia. And they ended up discovering this, which could lead to a cure for all different kinds of cancers. And so they made this, but then they ended up, their lab burned down. They lost their jobs. They got blacklisted from the pharma community. They couldn't get anything. So they said, fuck it. They stole everything they needed and they turned it into a street drug and sold it on the black market.
Damn, that's
they basically
one hell of a story, bro.
Dude, right? And I wanted to make it into like a series, and because think of all the different avenues. You get tied up with pharma, you get tied up with the government, you get tied up with law enforcement, you get tied up with drug cartels, with tweakers, with gangs, with everything. There's so many different fucking avenues that could go down. And they turn it into like a non-lethal street drug. Like they turn it into a brand new drug. But people, when they take it, they don't realize they're actually taking the cure for cancer.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like they
that's
don't even,
amazing.
They're thinking that they're just getting high.
Yeah.
So their goal is to get everybody addicted. That's their goal.
That's crazy.
Is to get the whole planet addicted to this, so that way they can literally cure cancer and nobody even knows about it.
Don't even know. That's really, bro.
Isn't that a dope idea?
I don't want people to find out about that anyway. So the fact that you have this story based on them like hiding it, just to feed the people, and they don't even know what's going on, is brilliant to me.
Isn't that a great idea?
I'm not even gonna lie.
They're putting the medicine in the cheese and giving it to the dog. They have no idea that they're even taking their heartworm medication.
Exactly.
No idea.
Wow. That's that's brilliant, bro. And I can I can see you expanding off those ideas, because
someday
it comes really, really natural for you. And so again, I want to thank you for inspiring me to leave here the other day and actually start on that screenplay.
Yeah,
because
for sure. And for those that don't know what he's talking about, so we did an entire podcast episode, really great episode. And unfortunately my computer said, nope. And it updated, and I lost that one and another one. Audio, video, gone. But I was able to save the video. But unfortunately I can't put that out because it's the audio is terrible, because it's just recording it from. I'm just gonna give people a little example real quick. This is what it sounds like without the audio from the podcast going on, and this is what it sounds like back on. A lot better, right? You don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait till you listen back on this episode. Exactly. You're going to be like, whoa, that was cool.
Yeah. I'm going to comment on that right now, actually. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This motherfucker's like, this.
Exactly. Right?
I like it, bro.
Just do that sort of stuff. Have fun with the editing. And now we can go black and white if we want to. There we go. Now we're in black and white. I know. It's crazy.
Can I still keep my black card?
Well, yeah.
You said black and white. I no longer got color, bro.
That's true. But we can make it look all really old timey if we want to. I can put maybe little grains from the old silent film era.
Can I get some sunflower seeds so I can do like this? Pop in my mouth, bro.
All right, we'll go back.
Yeah,
there we go.
Whew. Okay.
Now we're back from 1952. I'm excited to. I'm excited to keep doing video for the podcast, because different episodes, and you guys will have fun looking forward to this, because I'm going to be wearing random costumes for different episodes and shit. I have one where I'm going to be dressed up like a pilot with a friend of mine, but he's going to be dressed up like a modern commercial airline pilot. I'm going to go old 1930s Red Baron status, with the pilot hat and the goggles and the scarf and the leather jacket.
I can't wait to see that.
And then just randomly other kinds of shit. I have a friend of mine, and we're going to do a wrestling podcast together, like for an episode of Hippie Speedball, and we're going to talk shit about wrestling and stuff like that. And we're going to get hammered before we do the episode because we like to drink together, and she'll come on the show and we'll get tanked when we record a podcast. We'll drink a whole bottle of whiskey during the show and we'll get fucked up.
That actually
so much. It's so much fun. Her and I have a blast every single. Shout out to JJ. Oh, dude, we've had 2 episodes. One of them is audio only, and one of them's on video. But the audio only one, fun fact for those that want to go back and listen to it, I'll go ahead and put that link in the description below too. For this, after this episode, you can check it out. But it's that one is really cool because we like fucking, it's like 2.5 hours long. The episode is, but the actual recording was like just under 5 hours. We did like a 5-hour podcast and fucking got smashed. But there was also like a break in the middle where I just kind of left it recording and we just stopped for a minute and we just started eating and bullshitting and stuff like that. So one of these days I'm going to release the full director's cut of that one.
Sounds like a good time.
It was a lot of fun. So we're going to get hammered and we're going to do a wrestling podcast. We're just going to talk about wrestling and shit because I grew up watching WWF. She's getting into it now. And so we're going to do that. And I don't really watch it a lot anymore. And so it's going to be really fun, but we're going to dress up like wrestlers.
That's cool, bro. Hey, let's go. I can't wait for that.
I'm still debating who I'm going to be. I'm thinking I want to do Macho Man so I don't have to shave my beard. I got to pick somebody that has a beard. So that way I don't have to shave it and just get the big ass glasses and shit. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. We have a lot of fucking fun together. Oh man, I got ripped before this episode.
Hey, I love the direction it's going, my brother.
Oh, dude, it's I'm excited to be back into it, man, because it's like it's weird because there's times where I'm not gonna lie, there's times where it's like when it's podcasting day, and there's times where I'm really like not feeling it, like for real, like at all. And there's been times where I'm just like fuck, like I just don't have any energy. But for some reason, the closer I get to the actual recording, like when I'm hanging out with my guests, right before I come in to pick you up, I start to get the energy back up. So that's why I'm really excited that's why I'm excited to be able to do this for a living. So hopefully soon. So anybody who wants to look into sponsoring the Heavy Speedball podcast, we are officially looking for sponsors. It is the top 10% ranked in the world, and I have great package deals that come with a hell of a lot more than just a 60 to 90 second. We're talking Instagram posts, Instagram reels. We're talking fucking YouTube shorts, which apparently getting a decent amount of traction on that one, at least from the one that I posted. And I have a really good system that I'm about to implement. So sponsors, get a hold of me. I'm going to hook you guys up, especially for the first time contracts.
Please. Do it now. Every sponsor that he gets feeds at least one child in Africa. No, I'm lying. I'm really lying. Don't do that.
Because the richer I be, then the more I'll help people. I am already a broke person and I help a lot of people. Imagine what I'll do when I'm rich. Imagine that. I'm more excited to buy my girl a Lamborghini than myself. I could give a shit about owning one.
That's crazy.
She would just look adorable in a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I would just love to see her in one. Just zipping around in a fucking Lambo.
Bro, let's go.
That's exactly, well, she's going to get one. Specifically a Lamborghini Diablo. Mm-hmm. She wants a purple Lamborghini Diablo. And that's exactly what she's going to get.
It's gonna happen, man.
Absolutely.
Happen, man. I like to think positive, you know.
For sure.
One thing I will add is I love being around people like you and with your thought process, because I've always thought the same thing. When I become rich, the last person I'm thinking about myself is last thing I'm thinking about is myself.
100%, right?
For some reason, I'm like, I want to do this for my family, this for my family.
Right?
I'm not ever thinking about what I want for me.
Exactly. You know? Never. The only thing that I want for myself is just a decent house. Yeah. Nothing crazy and fancy. I want a nice cabin with a decent amount of acreage around it. That's what I want. Like, I mean, like almost like a ranch house. Like has a fuckload of land around it. But that's also so I can build tiny homes onto there for my family and my friends.
That's dope.
And I want to eventually, I want to have a big plot of land, and then I want to have, let's say I want to have like 100 acres, right? And I want to be able to build 10 tiny homes on that 100 acres. So each of those people have 10 acres to themselves. And that way they also have like this huge fucking plot of land that they can do what they want with. And I'll just have family and friends on there. And what it is going to be in a giant circle, and then there's a huge central point in the middle to where there's like a dirt road that leads from every single property, every single tiny home / property. Like it will have a dirt road that leads to the central point, which will have a main road going out.
Damn.
And so that way we can
that's
also
dope.
like, right? Is that way you can hunt on there, you can fish on there, like you can do everything you want, and then we can almost have like a modern hunter gatherer society, to where it's like we could have gardens, we could actually go and hunt our own food, and then at the end of the night we fucking feast, and we feast together.
That's what I'm talking.
That's what, right? Doesn't that like that sounds like the only way to live? Like that sounds like the only way to live, because that's how I've had to take my life recently, and I think that's why I'm falling in love with it so much, because like I've had to, you know, like since I don't have anybody regular to watch Juniper, I have to have her with me all the time. So that's why I'm doing Instacart and shit like that to fucking, mostly just Instacart. I was doing DoorDash too, but it's really saturated around here. I haven't signed up for Uber Eats yet, but Instacart's been paying me pretty well. So I've been doing Instacart, but the thing is like I'm basically like I'm like back to like a hunter gatherer like kind of mindset, because like
exactly.
I'm not making money every 2 weeks. I'm making money every day. So I'm thinking, if I don't make money, we don't eat. So I have to go out.
Yeah.
I have to go out and kind of hunt. Like that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm not hunting specifically. I would love to be actually out hunting. That would be amazing. If I could just go out with like a bow or something like that, and we're still probably feasting off the kill that I had before.
Yeah.
And so like if I could do that, that would be sweet. But this is kind of like a modern hunter gatherer kind of thing, because also it's like, you know, my lady, she has her job, but also the thing is, it's kind of like the same thing as being out like in a gatherer, because you know that it's going to be there. You just got to go work to get it.
Exactly.
So you know you have the hours, you know you have the hourly wage, you know you have the money coming in, but you just have to go there and do it. Me, I don't even know if I'm going to make any money that day. Like that's kind of being like that hunter mindset. I might not fucking kill an animal.
Exactly.
You know? And then luckily, but that back in those days, you would have the gatherers to fall back on. So if the hunters had no fishing, no hunting, no nothing that day, then we know we're at least going to eat berries, greens. Like we're still going to at least have something in our stomachs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's the kind of the mindset I've been taking up lately. And I know how much I need to make like every single day to, and I talked about this on the podcast with Zane Thomas, but like I know how much money I need to make every single day to cover my bills. And I know it's like, okay, to cover my bills, I have to make this amount. In order to have myself a little bit of weed, I got to make this amount. A little bit in savings, I got to have this amount. Because I'm a very simple guy.
Yeah.
As long as our bills are paid, we have food, like, and I have a little bit of weed to smoke, maybe a beer on occasion. That's really all I need.
Yeah, I love that mindset.
Like, and that's all I need. I don't really need much, and I don't spend any money on myself. That's why I don't have any tattoos, because every time I think about getting it and I have the money to do it, it goes to something else. Like it'll end up going to, maybe I'll buy a guitar, or maybe I'll like, you know, that's the only thing I'll buy myself is every once in a while I'll buy myself a new guitar. But unfortunately we end up falling on hard times and I have to sell that bitch.
Right.
So that's why I
I
only got my Strat right there. But that one was given to me for my birthday last year.
Got some nice guitars, brother.
They're excuse me. They're not so bad. Like got that Strat and then that acoustic right next to that blue Strat right there. That's actually my I had that since like I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had that guitar for a very long time. And then that pink one is actually my daughter's friend's guitar, and I was supposed to be giving him guitar lessons, but his mom gave him a fucking pink guitar. I don't know why. But and then that black and white one that's right there, that's got no tuning pegs on it. Right. That was my first electric guitar that I ever got.
Oh, and you kept
very, very. Oh yeah, for sure, man. I kept that. That's going to be a piece of memorabilia. And then the other pink one at the far end with the flower on it, that's Juniper's guitar. And she's actually starting to learn now.
That's cool.
She's taking a real interest, and she's already getting to the point where she's bored with what she can already play. So she's actually ready to learn more and challenge herself more, which I was waiting for. Good
gene.
She was asking me, she was like, "Daddy, do you ever get bored when you have to play the same thing on guitar?" And I'm like, "Are you ready to learn more?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So now we're working on the riff for Iron Man.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm starting her off with little one string riffs just so she can kind of get used to moving her finger and the pick at the same time. So that way she can, then it's like, we're going to go to one string riffs, and then we're going to do a one string riff with multiple fingers. Then we're going to go to two string riffs. And then once we go to two string riffs, then I can teach you power chords. Once I can teach you power chords, she can learn most of the songs she likes to listen to. Like, I mean, literally. And she likes to listen to a lot of punk and a lot of just kind of regular, like classic rock type stuff. She also loves hip hop, but she loves punk rock. She loves punk rock, and she loves Oliver Tree. She fucking loves
you let me
Oliver
listen to that
Tree
in the car. Yeah,
bro.
he's really
Oliver
good.
Tree is the man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's got such great music. I want to get him on the podcast someday. That would be really cool.
Man.
But we're gonna manifest that. Just gonna put that into the atmosphere right now.
Put that out there, bro.
Thank you, universe. But it's like she really loves that, and so once she gets to the point where she can play what's called power chords, that's how pretty much all punk rock is played. And so she can basically play most of her favorite songs. And I told her that too. I'm like, once we get to that point, you'll be able just to jam in your room, like to a fucking to whatever song you want to, and you'll just play along with them. That's what I did.
For real.
But the thing is like she's going to be 3 years younger than when I was doing that. Actually, no, more than that, because I didn't start actually jamming along to like tracks with them until I was like probably playing for about a year. So, and she's going to be she's going to be 9-10 years old at that point, and I was 14. So she's going to have such a huge advantage. By the time she gets to high school, she's going to be fucking shredding.
Yeah, exactly.
She's going to be so good if she wants to. But that kid is like me. She wants to do everything. She wants to be in gymnastics. She wants to play guitar. She wants to play soccer. She wants to be a cheerleader. She wants to, I want to get her in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And when I showed her that, she wants to do that too.
Wow,
like, so she wants to do a lot of fucking things. That's why it's like, I got to start making a lot of money. So it's like that way I can let her do anything that she wants.
It definitely helps with her being able to watch what you're doing as well. There's a lot of parenting out there, which is fine. I'm not one to judge. But when you tell your kids to do something and then you do something else showing your actions, then they're going to want to do whatever you showed them with your actions. They soak everything up like a sponge. So man, I give you props, man, that you're a great role model for your kid. She gets
I appreciate
that's
that.
That's why no problem, bro. That's why my son, he's gonna be 4 toward the end of the year, and he loves music. And the more time that I spend with him, the more I can see him he evolving, and he's just so, kids are just so smart nowadays. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I want to get him on that right track, and not so much that are saying things like, oh, you just got to do music and nothing else. No, I want you to be able to do whatever you want in life. Just don't be afraid to take on multiple things at one time.
Yeah.
If it's in your element, like for example, I only take on so many things at the same time. Yes, we're doing a lot, me and you, but it's things that help. I mean, there's things that it have a lot to do with what we're already doing, but it's always like something that God's like, here's let me add this.
Yeah,
let me add on.
It's all kind of central around the same point.
Exactly.
Like
that's why. Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a giant like beacon of light that's kind of falling down this way. It's kind of more of like a funnel.
Yeah, exactly.
The spotlights aren't coming from above. It's me shining the flashlight up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of more funnels out. No, for sure. I can definitely sense that. And you're doing the same thing though. I mean, you're pursuing a passion. You're putting the work in. You're fucking coming on interviews talking about it. Like, you're doing the same thing. So he's going to see that too. And he's going to be like, that's what I need to do.
Thank you.
And it's like you said, it's like through the actions itself. And especially like, you're going to have a moment with your son. Like I had a moment with Juniper whenever we were out at breakfast and somebody was like, hey, I've seen you on your podcast. Like a complete stranger that I'd never even met before. That happened when I was with Juno.
Oh, you was with her when?
We were out on a daddy-daughter date.
Yeah.
And this guy at the fucking restaurant recognized me from the show. And I had to ask him like 4 questions just to fucking make sure that we've never met before.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that's the only place you know me from is from you've seen the podcast. He's like, yeah, dude, I just really love your show. Like, and I'm like, that's fucking crazy because he saw it playing at Khalifa. Once again, shout out Khalifa. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but it was a big moment for me. It was a really, really big moment because that's not any reason at all why I started the podcast. None at all. And that's something I have to keep reiterating to people. It's like, I'm not trying to be famous. I just want to hang out with really dope people and I want to smoke weed and drink some coffee and just bullshit and get into this amazing flow state conversation. Because there is science that proves that weed and coffee actually puts your mind in a flow state.
That only makes
and I'll put a link to that
sense.
article right in the fucking description so people can read
sense, my brother.
It does. And I think that's half the reason why I'm able to have such great conversations on the podcast is because we end up flowing into one thing into another, and then it puts you in this state where you're thinking clear, you're getting ideas, getting inspired, and it just kind of, I wanted to create that sort of bubble. But I never intended people to even listen to this fucking show. And shout out to everybody that's been listening because you guys are the only reason I'm still doing it. Like, and it's because like, and I enjoy it. I don't get me wrong. I would be doing it if I only had 1 listener or 0 listeners. But that was the whole point of me doing it, is because I enjoy it. But in order for me to take it seriously, you guys are the reason why. You guys are the reason why I want to do this full time now.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm so amazed that this is where you are at now. It was like what 3 to 4 years later since I worked with you at the distillery in the mall, and you
What
was
a great
manager,
time,
bro.
man.
You was my manager. That's the crazy thing about the milestone that we have today with me starting my own business.
I know, right?
This dude right here was my manager at the distillery. He was a great boss.
Oh,
He
thank you. I
came
appreciate
organized.
that.
He knew exactly where to put people. People didn't even have to say anything for you to know where you want to put. Say less. Okay, you're gonna be over here.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, and so, man, I just want to take this time to say, man, I appreciate being on your show for one, and
No, for sure, man.
For second, to see how you grown, because when you hit me up out of nowhere, I had no idea that you was doing this. Like I know.
No. So you hit me up actually.
Did I hit you up?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
snap.
hit.
Okay.
You hit me up. You're like, bro, I just checked out. He's like, you're like, I just checked out your podcast, man. That's what's up.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
No. It's all good, bro. But go ahead.
No, I just want to say, man, like, no, that's right. I did hit you up, man, 'cause I saw you, man. And I was at first I said, this guy looks familiar.
No,
I didn't know. I don't, yeah.
That's awesome.
But no, I'm glad how it worked out. And it just shows that there's a right time and place for everything. I'm going to go back on that key point a little earlier. He said he wasn't doing this to be famous. Joe said he was doing this because he loved getting to know new people. He loved, just
Hanging out with dope
people, smoking and vibing and creating this flow state with just coffee and weed. He really was enjoying what he was doing. And I want to say that to say this, for anybody watching this, don't worry about being famous. You focus on what you do and you build that arc, and everything else.
And do what you love.
Do what you love, and everything else will be put onto you.
Absolutely, man, for sure. Well put, man. Because like it's the ones that just do it because they love it, and then that energy surrounds you.
And that energy surrounds you.
It completely just surrounds you, and that's one thing I have to really say to like these people that are trying to be influencers. And I think that it's like if that's what you want to do, then go for it. But do it because you want to do something that you feel like is providing you something. Like not necessarily like, oh, I'm just going to promote these companies because it'll give me more followers and it'll do this, that, and the other. It's like, dude, that means dick. Because if your Instagram and your social media disappears, what do you have? What do you have?
Exactly.
And that's why I'm glad that I'm not doing that too. Because I mean, shout out to everybody that wants to, for sure. But just don't put all your eggs in that basket.
Right.
Because you don't want to give that much power of your career to social media. Like you don't want to do that. And it's like one of those things, like you can tell when someone's doing something just to be famous, and you can tell when something's doing something because they love it.
Exactly.
Right. Like, I mean, like, that's why I love talking to you about your concept albums, because like you already looking at it like a movie, as if you already have the money to make the movie.
It's like I'm there.
Exactly. And that's the way people need to be. And also, it's not necessarily like you're saying like, oh, I want to make millions of dollars off this. You're like, I want to fucking watch this.
Yeah. Like I don't care about the money.
Exactly, dude. And that's what they actually say that all great filmmakers have in common. And that's something that I really took to heart too, because me wanting to make movies, eventually write movies specifically, maybe direct, but write them definitely. Like, you just want to fucking watch it. I'm not writing anything that I don't desperately just want to watch.
Yeah, I just want to see what it looks like.
It's always a dream of mine to be sitting there in a theater and a premiere of a movie that I made or wrote, whatever it is, directed / both. And I want to be sitting there in a theater, tuxedo, with a homeboy that helped me make it. Like, cause I picture me and my buddy Eric being the ones to do something like that, or somebody. And I want to be like, bro, fist bump, lights go out. And then like, that's a moment I'm just waiting for in my life. I'm just waiting for that moment, because I can already see it and I know it's going to happen. I'm not even talking about like I don't give a fuck if it's just us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if that fucking auditorium's empty and it's just us and the cast watching it. It's our baby and we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I want to do.
Nicely said.
For sure. And that's so important. And we're back. Sorry about that, people. Dad duty called. Had to go get my daughter a snack. She's like, can I have a snack? Anyway, but yeah, dude, like, it's like we were talking about movies.
Yeah,
Oh, releasing. Yeah. I was like, like I said, I don't give a shit if it's even just me and the cast watching it. It's like, I just want to fucking watch this shit, you know?
Right.
And whenever you're chasing passions like that, that's what I was getting at, is whenever you're chasing passions like that, I mean, you that energy will just flock towards you, and you can always tell when someone's just trying to be famous or when they're just doing something that they love.
Right.
Because
exactly.
Logan Paul said this on his podcast, and it was a really, really good statement. And honestly, it kind of resonated with me too, because I've had people say this to me, and when I heard him say it, like, you know, he's very, very successful, and the guy knows branding people and shit like that really well. And so he was talking about how when you see somebody that becomes famous for something, it just makes sense. It just makes sense that they would be doing that.
Exactly.
It just makes sense. And I've had so many people that knew me from high school, that knew me from middle school, that said, like, dude, the fact that you're doing a podcast totally just makes sense. They were like, it just makes sense, bud.
Okay.
And then I heard Logan Paul say that, and those people's words resonated with me, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should continue to do this. And like I said, not to become famous, but to become, so he didn't say famous, he said successful. When you see someone who's very successful at something, it just makes sense. And I was like, that's one thing I really, really took to heart, is to make sure that, you know, that and I was continuing it because I loved it. And when I wasn't loving it, I would pull back. That's why I've taken breaks. It's because also I don't want to put out subpar content. Like, I don't want to just force myself into it. There's been times where I was having times in my life where I just wasn't loving it, or going through a massive, massive change with the podcast. Like, you know, like whenever my original co-host and I parted ways, Trey, rest in peace, buddy. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but whenever we parted ways, that was a big change. Took a little bit of a break, and then I got video. And then after video stopped, I took a little bit of a break, and then I was just doing audio only. And then now ramping back up for video, took a little break as well. So I always just want to make sure I give you guys a quality episode. If anything's like subpar, I don't like to release it, because you guys don't deserve that. The guest doesn't deserve that. Because if you're hosting a show, it's your obligation to make sure that that guest gets the best information out as possible.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm not a gotcha kind of guy. Like, I'm not going to try to make anybody look bad on my show. I only have people on my show because I like to fucking be around them. If I wanted to make someone look bad, I'm not going to put them on my platform. Like, fuck you. Like, if anything, that's how I would just make you look bad. It'd be like, no, you're not coming on my show. And I have a handful of people that I do feel that way about. It was like I've had people like say, "Oh, you should get this person on your podcast because they have this many followers." I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck how many followers someone has. Like, I don't give a shit. Are you a dope person, or do you make dope shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. Let's fucking talk. Like, that's what we can talk about, you know?
Yeah.
Like you, not only are you a good friend of mine, but it was, you know, like we can talk movies, music, like we can talk about this shit, and I'm interested in what you're doing. You know, I have these people that have, like, you know, like, oh, this person has 100,000 followers, and I'm just like, I don't fucking give a shit, man. I would have rather had the maintenance guy who worked in my apartment complex, because he used to work catering for like bands and like musicians on the road and shit. Like, that guy's got stories to tell. Like, that's somebody I want to smoke weed and talk with. Like, that's a person. He doesn't even fucking have social media. Like, he's just an older guy with dope stories. Those are the kind of people that I like to hang out with, you know? Brother. And if people want to tune into me, I like to give those people a platform, you know? Or this guy, Joe Pietri, the king of Nepal. Like, he's not huge on social media, but he's a fucking legend in the weed community, because he was one of the main hash smugglers back in the 60s. Yeah. Like, he fucking smuggled shitloads of hash. And he was the reason the first pandas ever came to the U.S. Like, this guy's got a crazy story, because they came on his hash crates that were all built out of solid hash, and he used to smuggle it all over the world. And
now that would be a good story for your podcast,
dude. I've already had him on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's already reached out to me to come on again. We're gonna do another episode too.
Damn,
like, he already reached out to me to come back on, and that's something I want to do too. Is like, I want to make it so when people come on, they want to come back on. Like, they're like, dude, I fucking had a great time with you. You know. And so you talked earlier about this is totally off subject and everything, but you talked earlier about our times at Eastside, man. How much fun was that, dude?
That was one of my favorite jobs.
It was a great job.
One of my favorite jobs.
I really wish that company just would have paid me what I deserved. Man, that's the only reason I left. Is because I was the top producing manager in the whole company. I was selling more booze than anybody else because of the crew that I was running. We were selling more booze than anybody else, but my crew was the one that was running it. And I was so good at that, but I was making dick. I was making fucking bullshit money.
I didn't know that, man.
I remember telling other managers in the mall, like there was literally most managers in the mall made twice what I made. Yeah. I was literally working for half of my worth, and I was running the number one crew with no bonuses, no nothing. I had to convince them to give us bonuses. And like, this is how good we were at selling alcohol, bro. This is how well I was able to run my crew. So when we had competitions, they would pit multiple stores as teams against Clackamas alone.
That's insane.
100%, bro. It would be like Washington and 7th, Pioneer Place and Woodburn, Clackamas.
Oh, what?
And also the event staff and OLCC. Like the event staff / OLCC would take part in the competition too. And Clackamas would slaughter everybody every single fucking time. And my retention rate was 100%. Zero turnover for 2.5 years. That's unheard of in the retail world. And I was making half what I should have by running all of that. I remember when I did the math one year, this store alone was 11% of the company's entire revenue, beating everybody else. We had that highest percentage gap.
That's impressive,
dude. It was pretty crazy. Like it was a lot of fun, and I really missed that job, man. That was so dope. And you were right too, because like we had a really great flow going, and I think that for those that are managers of a crew or anything like that, like division of labor is so important. Know where to put your people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like know where they thrive and know where they fucking despise being, because if they despise being in that spot, you're not going to get quality work done. 100%. You know, that's why it's like, you know, like I know you didn't really like being behind like the tasting bar very much, and you didn't like being behind the register very much.
I learned to love it, but not.
But the tasting bar, it takes so much knowledge though.
Yeah.
Like there's so much to learn, and like there's like times where like, you know, like because also like if we could get in trouble if we misinform somebody and shit like that. Right. So there was a lot of like stuff with that. But I saw like I was like, he doesn't dig being up there, so I was like, you know, be a greeter, stock shelves, work the like, you know, work the back or whatever, and just doing the thing. And you fucking were. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're cool,
I think
bro.
if there was one thing I enjoyed about being behind the counter is the people. You get to see people interact with you when they come in. They have no idea that there's even anything like this in the mall in the first place. Right? They sit there and they come in shocked. They're looking at everything. They're starting to get this grin on their face. But then you get to fix some little something. Yeah. And then you watch their mood change right in front of you. And that's probably one of my favorite things about this job. Yeah. It went from having a bad day to just...
Dude, we were everybody's best friend. That was the best thing about working that job is, dude, I remember I had specifically shot glasses I kept underneath the tasting bar just for mall employees. And I told I told you that. I told everybody that. I was like, if a mall employee comes and they say like, hey, can I have an underbar shot? Yeah. And then they would come. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. They would get their little fucking shot, because then we would only do that for mall employees. Because we get it. Like we get it. And security too. And like, and so like I've gotten security to take shots before.
Oh, really?
Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, I used to sell weed to security. It was like, so I used to keep them off my back when I was selling weed there in the mall, because I was like fucking not only managing that place, but I was selling weed like crazy there in the Clackamas Town Center, like in all like not like crazy, but I mean I was going through like probably about a half a pound a week. Like just there in the mall, through the kiosk people, security, the employees at the store, all different people. I worked in restaurants and shit. The reason I was selling to security though was so they would just leave me alone. Yeah. So that I could sell there. So I got to security first, and so I was like, boom, I'm their weed supply. So now they'll always turn the other way.
Wow.
And I was because I was also beating the dispensaries at the time, because the dispos at the time were charging a little bit more. And it was before Oregon was really sitting on a surplus of weed, because Oregon's cheap as fuck right now. But not Oregon, but yeah, Oregon's weed is cheap as fuck right now. But at this time, it was a little bit higher in price. And so I was fucking doing that and running the number one store. We were everybody's best friend, dude. It was so much fun.
That's a good time, bro.
It really was, man. And also, that's where I learned how crazy powerful the trade and barter system is. Right. Like, and that's another reason why I love the concept of just like hunter-gatherer societies, because that's what you're kind of going off of, is just trades and barters. There's been numerous occasions where there would be like a bartender from a bar that worked nearby that would come in and buy a bottle for either the bar or buy it for like themselves or something like that. And I would go to their bar like off my shift, and I would just go there to hang out and have a drink, and I would get so much fucking free booze and free food and shit like that. There was one time I easily racked up like $150 to $200 bar tab, and I fucking only paid like $18, or she charged me like $18, and I just gave her a fat ass tip. But yeah, and I was like, it was fucking dope. It was really dope. And that's where I learned, when shit hits the fan, booze and medical supplies are the two things you really want to stock up on. Don't even carry too much food on you, because you can trade for that.
Exactly.
Like you can go, you can hunt, you can fish, you can trade for that. Like, don't carry too much. Carry a lot of fucking alcohol, because people are going to want their booze. And it sounds stupid, but, and I know where the fucking OLCC warehouses are and all that shit. So I'm going to have the hookup.
Oh, you ready?
Bro, I'm going to have like a Sprinter van that's just going to be stocked full of booze and water. It's going to be those two things. And that's basically going to be gold in a fucking post-apocalyptic society, man. Like, that's going to be fucking gold.
That and Twinkies, man. Make sure you know.
100%, bro. I'm going to fucking get down on some Twinkies, some fucking snowballs. I don't really like Twinkies that much, actually.
Not a big fan.
I like Hostess stuff. I like Ding Dongs are good. God, what are the Little Debbie's the one that makes the nutty bars. What are the other ones? The little cake things, like they're like with like white frosting. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're like a little.
What are they called?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. But people listening are probably fucking just like shouting at me.
Yeah, right.
They're fucking super dank though, whatever they are. You'd think a stoner would know if fucking his snacks like the back of his hands. My snack of choice when I'm stoned is either really buttery, salty popcorn or like just fucking chips. I love just eating fucking potato chips, man. I've been craving. I'm going to get some when I go to the store today. I've been craving potato chips like crazy. We haven't had any in here in weeks. So it's like, I'm going to fucking buy some goddamn chips and some maybe like salsa con queso tonight.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Man. Right, bro.
Man, I'm not going to lie to you, man. When you just mentioned chips, I'm going to have to go get some now. I get down on those spicy Cheeto puffs.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
In your mouth. Mm-hmm. I love anything spicy.
Yeah.
Dude, we should go to the maybe you can come with me this year to the I think it's happening this year. I would check my phone, but I can't. But at the Hot Sauce Expo.
Oh snap!
The Portland Hot Sauce Expo.
Oh, I would not miss this. So
fucking good time, bro.
They let you try different hot sauce.
Yeah, dude. It's literally that's exactly what it is, and it's outdoors. So it's like, and they do it where OMSI is at.
Oh,
and then so there's like that big like dirt patch area that's over where OMSI is. And they do it outdoors, and they have luchador wrestling. They have like eating contests. They have food there, a little bit of food, not too much, but they have a bar there. They have all sorts of really dope shit, and they have fuckloads of hot sauce vendors. I mean,
that's pretty dope.
Fuckloads, and not just hot sauce. They also have like some alcohol vendors. They have some other companies there, but you can try basically everything. And most of them have like tortilla chips on hand that you can try the hot sauce with, or some of them even will just have like literally just like a tiny little spoon that they'll just put a little droplet on. I tried this one hot sauce, bro, that was the spiciest fucking shit I've ever had in my life. And the guy hadn't even released it yet. He was still working on it, and he had it in like a vial. And he was like, bro, I'll let you try some of it, but it's fucking hot.
You only needed one drop?
Dude, that's all I needed. Thank God he didn't give me more, because, dude, the little bit that I had fucked me up. It was like uncomfortably spicy, not even like a good way, because I like to be like some spice, but with flavor there too. Yeah. Like, that's so important to me. And they have so much good shit there, bro. And stuff that you'll try. You're like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, like, so good. Like, I had this one that was like it was like a smoked cherry wood hot sauce. And it just had like this amazing, like roasted kind of cherry spicy flavor to it. Oh my fucking Lord. It was so good. So good. I wish I fucking knew that. Any hot sauce people listening, hit me up. Let's work together.
Hey,
I will totally put a bottle of your hot sauce right here. Also, something that comes with the fucking sponsorships. That's also something that comes with it. Product placement. That's why we got the big Blunt Buddy chilling right here, and that's why we have the Happy Cannabis mug chilling right next to him.
Let me get this out the way.
That's all good, bro.
That's so good.
Yeah, I think the camera might have gotten over the coffee cup. I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. There was one episode where I had like a water bottle right here, like for a minute, and then I was like, oh shit, and I was like, whoops.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, it's I do get down on some fucking spiciness. I get down on spiciness. Yeah. I'm also, like I said, I'm making fajitas tonight.
Damn, that sounds good, bro. Anything, bro. After this show, I'm telling you,
I got the munchies like crazy.
Yeah, I'm about to go grab some.
Absolutely, right, man.
I got to work tonight, but hey, it's a good day, my brother. I'm excited to just go to work, even though I gotta be there until 7 in the morning.
Hey, you're at work right now.
Hey, I'm working. Hey, let's go.
We working.
We working.
We working right now.
We working.
That's what we do. I know. I'm so excited to start doing more content now too, because like I always feel so fucking good after doing a podcast. Like I said earlier, it's like sometimes the morning of I'm like, oh, like it's nothing to do with the guest.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of I just deal with a lot of depression and anxiety, and days I don't want to fucking do anything.
I feel it, bro.
I don't want to do a podcast. I don't want to drive anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I just want to fucking literally do nothing and like watch my phone all day long, like or like listen to another podcast. Ironically enough, like and just fucking just go down rabbit holes. That's what I want to do when I'm very, very depressed. But but when I get into the motion of it, and then afterwards, like even Allie pointed that out to me. She was like, "You always feel so good after a show. Like it always does. It's like, oh, dude, she's like, it's like it flips a switch on you. She's like, you can go into it, like, not into the episode, but go into the day,
right,
just feeling, bleh. And then by the end of the day, I'm fucking like, my cock's made of concrete, It's just like, I go in there with big dick swinging. What we do, we fucking grab our nuts and we go. Yeah, that's what we do. And so it's like, and it's amazing. I'm excited to do more and more content because I know that I have the potential. This is going to sound kind of like I'm tooting my own horn, but this is only from what other people have told me. I know I have the potential to do stuff like this for a living, like podcasting, YouTube content, shit like that, filmmaking. I know I have the ability. It's just reminding myself that I do. Like,
exactly.
Instead of just me saying, you're not good enough, go back to normalcy. But then anytime I ever fucking have, God is just like, nope.
Exactly.
That's not what you're meant to do, homie.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's like, I'm almost terrified to get a 9 to 5 because it's like, I don't want it to happen again. Every time I've tried. And it sounds crazy, but I've literally had witnesses, and it's happened so many times where it's something completely out of my control. Totally out of my control.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is.
There's been times where, like, and I was like, my first day at work, on my way to work, Juniper has to get home from school. Like, on just coincidentally, she's fine weeks and months and fucking totally fine. And she's fine after that. But then that one day, oh, Juniper bumped her head. We think you should take her to the doctor. Juniper got sick. This has literally happened with like 4 jobs.
Wow.
Dude, for real. Or times where my babysitter just decides they're not going to watch Juno that day. Or they're sick and they can't, and I don't have any backups. And then this happens and you lose your job. And it's just this really shitty, vicious cycle to be in. And for those that don't know, there's a really weird cycle whenever you have a kid, you have nobody that can watch them. But you also don't have the ability to get the daycare because you can't, first off, you don't have the job to pay for the daycare up front to go to work. And you can't go to, at least in the state of Oregon, you can't go to DHS because they want to know that you already have a job, but you can't get the job until you tell what their availability is based upon the daycare, but you can't get the daycare until you get the job, but you can't get the job until you got the daycare. And it's just literally,
vicious, bro,
dude,
vicious.
It's a fucking loop. It's like a Doctor Strange, man. It's like, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? But it's only times where I decide just to fucking take it upon myself to when I actually start thriving. Like that's the only times where I'm actually doing okay. Right now, I'm just playing catch up because moving into this apartment fucked us up because it was the way it worked out because we got approved, but we had to pay the deposit within 48 hours, which was all our money. So then we had to, not only that, we had to try to recover from the rent, our final month's rent from our old apartment. And then we had to pay the deposit. And then 4 days later, our next month's rent was due.
Crazy, man.
Dude.
Trials
it was
and tribulation.
Fucking crazy, but we're getting there. We're playing catch up, and it's getting better. I'm working my ass off to try to make it happen, and it's crazy. But every time that I've just taken upon myself is when I've been thriving. But I'm so jealous of people that have a 9 to 5. I'm so fucking envious of people that can just be like, "Oh, I'm going to work." I'm like, I wish I could. Like, that sounds amazing. It sounds amazing.
Hey, well, you're doing the right thing, man.
I just got to keep putting content out.
Yeah, man. It's just
this is my job. This and I'd make money other ways, but this is my job.
Right.
There's a difference between what your job is and what makes you money.
Right. Exactly.
There's a very, very big difference there. And it's like, it's are you familiar with Brenboy? He's a local rapper.
I don't think so.
You got to get down. You got to get to know Brenboy, bro. He runs Rip City Basement. So Brenboy, he runs Rip City Basement, and he's really fucking great guy to listen to. But he had a really good point that he was saying like that when you're getting into something like music, podcasting, acting, or anything like that, I mean, people think you're kind of nuts to want to get into it, right? But what they don't understand is it's kind of like any other job that you're just starting, where you have to just wait a little bit longer for that paycheck.
Exactly.
That's just the thing, you know, because it's like, imagine so think about it this way. You're working, you know, and you get paid every 2 weeks. But imagine if you're not getting paid every 2 weeks and you're still working, but then whenever 2-3 years comes up, then you get all that money at once.
Exactly.
And it's like, so it hasn't been like it's for nothing. You're just going to, and then most of the time it's a little bit more. And that's because it relates back to what we were saying earlier. It's because you're chasing something you're passionate about.
Exactly.
It's because you love what you're doing.
Exactly.
And that's what really matters, is just that you love what you're doing. And I'm glad that more people are seeing this, because I remember I've been saying this for years, to where it's like people just need to do what they enjoy.
Exactly.
But everybody is just like, no, they just need to do what they do to make money. It's like people don't understand that's a very, very different thing. Very different things.
Exactly.
Well, fucking A, man.
Yeah, man.
I think it'd be a great spot to wrap it up right there,
man,
bro.
Let me just say this
Go
to
ahead.
clarify some things in the beginning about the album. It's going to be something different. I don't think there's too many things like this, but the album's taking place. I mean, the album that's surrounding the movie, the original film that I'm creating out of, you know, obviously what's in my mind, is going to be a rapsicle. So it's going to be like a musical, but a rapsicle. No. It's going to be a mixture.
Not gonna lie, you should think of a different way to say that.
Yeah. Well, eventually I will, but that's,
you can call it a hip hopsicle. Hip hopsicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tongue twister.
Hip hopsicle actually.
Hip
hopsicle
hopsicle
might make people want to say it. The reason why I'm calling it a rapsicle is because the second movie that I'm supposed to be in is actually, that's what it was. And the whole entire movie, it had dialogue, it had music, you know, it had action. So that's kind of, without even really giving it too much thought, that's what I want to.
A rap musical.
Yeah,
that's
I'm gonna
dope.
be doing that. It's gonna be action and
a rap
action and yeah.
Maybe that does work actually. Yeah, because I think popsicle, but hip hopsicle sounds like popsicle.
It does.
So that's never mind.
Honestly,
they can't all be winners, people.
When it got brought to my attention, when my good friend told me about it, it had to sit on my tongue for some time, because rapsicle, I'm like, okay, musical. For some reason, maybe that's been around for so long, it just sounds normal, musical. Yeah. So, yeah.
Because it means more than just a musical. It's
right.
like something's musical.
Yeah.
But rapsicle's not even a real word, but it could be.
Hey, well,
it could be.
Well, let's change the game.
Let's make that a fucking real word.
Let's change the game, because that's when in the middle of what I'm doing. So
absolutely, well, dude, this was a fucking great time, man. It's great to fucking see you. Great to hang out with you. I appreciate you coming through, and thank you everybody for tuning into the Hippie Speedball podcast. It is Joe, your host with the most Joe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Been programmed, the night been programmed, night been programmed. Sometimes I wonder where I would be if it wasn't for so many things influencing our brains as if